Good evening. My name is Sharmina Akhtar. Today I'm going to give a oral presentation about Decameron. At the beginning, I would like to speak about what is Decameron and how does it contain and what does it contain and how does it even help the people in the society. So the Decameron is one of the book Nobel book from 1348 written by Giovanni Boccaccio. The author was able to structure frame of stories which has contained 100 tales. These stories were told by a group of young people, men and women, who were stuck in the epidemic from the Black Death in medieval Florence. So sometimes these stories took place with the entertainment and even sometimes make people sad or people even learn from it. So as we talk about the stories, the one of the stories in the book has the day one. Story one is about the man named Sar Saparolo, who was the worst man for entire his life. He never did any good deed. All he did was the bad thing to the people, and never did any good deed to like that people's going to bury him, or even he's gonna have a good death or with the church people or even holy flare. So he, at the end, when he was getting old and sick, he was staying with the two young men, and those two young men was too much worried for him that like how it's gonna happen, how they're gonna manage to manage after his death. They were thinking like if they kick him out right now, people gonna think that two young people are bad, or they don't want to keep him. So when they were talk about it, the old man, the worst man, heard them and then told them that if they can manage to bring the holy flare to him. So the young men were able to bring the holy flare to his place. So this clever man was very clever to make the holy flare believe that he was one of the good men. He never did anything bad, or even the bad thing he did, the holy flare wasn't thinking that it was bad enough to be a bad person. So somehow his cleverness and luck changed his life. After his death, he became a saint because those holy flare announced that he was one of the good men in the city. So people were like at the end taking his piece of cloth thinking he's a saint, or his luck changed his life. So this story tell people that like people cleverness and luck can change people's life, but there one thing that no one should lie, because if he wouldn't lie, he wouldn't have to do that. He wouldn't have to take a false confession to before his death. Who knows what's gonna happen after his death? So it's not pretty well for the people can learn from it. Then when we talk about love, there are so many stories has taken place for the love. So especially when we talk about there is a day two story seven. It was about a pretty woman whose name is Alatil, who was the daughter of one of the richest sultan, and she was about to get married her as her father chose for her with the king of Algarve. So she had to travel to get there. So her misfortune changed her life, and even her beauty make her life worse. So when she was in the boat, the sea storm hit her boat and took her somewhere else. So her beauty was as much as that like none of the men can control themselves. So one by one, she was like taken by 9 men. Those men were killing each other to get her, steal her. So her misfortune, her beauty of misfortune changed her life. And even she didn't even know what happening. She wasn't happy. So after four years, she was able to find one of her father nobleman, whose name is Antigono. So he was he was one of the good men as well. So she was able to tell him that what happened to her. So then she was like, okay, what's gonna happen if she goes to her father, because the religious she have, and the she was been through with the 9 men, and what's gonna happen if the society can take her back, or what can happen. So the man, the name Antigono, who gave her a clever idea and made her make a false story, to tell her father. So then they're gonna believe that what happened to her. So when she took place on her father's place, and then her father asked her like what happened to her, she was able to tell the false story and make them believe that she was still able she was able to be get married with the king, and she was a totally virgin even though she wasn't. So her luck and misfortune even changed her life. It could have been worse, but the God changed her life and her misfortune. So the people kind of enjoyed that story, and it continues. It continues, and the day 4 also there has another love story. The story 9. It was about two friends. The friend name is Rosingolin, and then Grandas Tango. I'm sorry for the pronouncing of the name, as I'm not as good at it. So they were two good people, good friend, like a best friend. So they are kind of nobleman and rich in their city. So the Rosangilonen wife was pretty lady, and then so however the Grandastagno however fall in love with his friend wife. However, they were very deep in love, and one day the wife husband found out that they are in love, and then the husband couldn't bear his anger. Like, he was one of the worst thinking and cold-hearted people, because he could have been tell the wife like what's going on or what happened, or even tell the friend that why did you do that to me, or to my life, or to my wife, even though he didn't do that. He was made a plan that invite his friend to his house. In the way of coming to his house, his friend was attacked by him, and however he killed him and took his heart. He tear his body and took his heart, and he bring that heart to his house, gave it to his one of the good cook, and tell him that cook as much as good dish as it could be. So once after that, the Rosalingo and his wife was having dinner, the cook finally brings the dish to them, and then Rosangilon was very he was acting like he didn't have an appetite to eat, so he gave the dish to his wife, and the wife actually liked the dish, and she finished them all. After finished the dish, the husband told her that you how you like the dish, and she's like, it was very pretty well, and I liked it. So basically he was like, I'm very wondering that how you like it, even dead, even you liked it, the one of the thing that in your life that you couldn't. So even he was like very bad, cold-hearted, and then wife found out that it was her lover heart. So she no longer waited. Then she was like, she don't want to eat anymore, because after she had ate her lover heart, she went through straight down to window and jumped off from the window and died. So the two love couple or died because of the love. And then the cold-hearted man who couldn't been who couldn't been changed, that like it couldn't been different. So the people are very sad about this story. It was pretty bad, and people could learn that no one should do this. So there is like two more story in this book contain. One of them how the hostile environment can change people's life. So there was the day 10, story 10. It was a story about Ghoul Terrier, and he was one of the good men and rich men. He was the only one taking care of his big family. So at the beginning, he wasn't wanted to get married, but then, however, his family told him that he have to get married and get a wife, but he didn't know how to get a good wife, because a wife can change a man's life with a worse way. So, however, he kind of liked the woman. She was very poor. She was from very poor family, so she was able to get married with him, and her name was Griselda. So the man got married with him and make her promise that she will be a good wife and listen to him all the time. So after the marriage, few months later, he acted like really worse with her, very bad. It's like unbelievable, and is was it was hard to tolerance. So basically, after that, the lady was bearing her patient that she didn't tell him a single word after doing this, especially when they have a first child. And she and the man Gultiari was told that, like, the take that child and kill the child, so in front of his wife, even to test her, like, if even to test her if she's good or bad, like what her reaction is. So however, the wife didn't say a single word, and then it was hard for her, but she bare her pain and made her patient that, like, she shouldn't say anything, because she have to listen to her husband. So the man put the baby away, and he acted like he killed the baby, but he didn't. And then it happened to exactly the same for the second child. He did the same way, and even like after 12 years later, it was continued like that. So one day he was like, he's tired of his wife, and the wife isn't good to him anymore or anything. He was complaining, and he was able to get rid of her. So even then, the lady didn't say a single word. She was like able to go, went back to her father's house. She didn't say anything. So later on, she kind of owned his heart, and it was a very happy ending at the end, because she found her husband that he was testing on her all the time, that long term. And then her two kids, the daughter and the son, was alive. The man didn't kill them. It was very happy ending. People enjoy the story, and people can learn from it that good deed or patient can change people life. The hostile environment is like a people expectation. People, however, expect that how the man can be, how the woman will be. Especially the Gultieri was testing his wife, because the people were saying that women are bad, and they can make the husband life terrible. That's why he was testing his wife. However, it was a very good ending, happy ending story, so people liked it. And then there was another story, another story that fortune and the good deed can change people's life. So this day 10 story 9 was about the Saladin and the man called Messer Torello. He was living on Pavia. So Saladin was one of the biggest sultan of that place. So there was a Christian people who are getting ready for the war, and then Saladin wanted to check out, like, how they're preparing. And he was visiting as the Pabia, as a merchant, that he hide his identity that he was a sultan. However, he get to meet the Messer Torello, and the Messer Torello was one of the good men, that he treated Saladin as really great, as like any man can do for the stranger. He was treating them like a really great. So Saladin liked it. Spent 2 days in there, and then then the Saladin was keep remember that the man, how what he did for him. So in the war, Saladin won and the Christian people lost. So however, the Mother Torello was stuck on the jail, on Saladin jail. So however, he was leaving his wife behind because he told and give the wife a time frame that, wait for me until this time so I can be I can be back. So please wait for me, or if not, then get married with someone else. So her family was forcing her to get married, but then she was waiting until the day she gave a promise to her husband. So Mezzo Torello was stuck in the jail. However, Saladin found out and then recognized him, that the man how he took care of him. So then he later helped Mezzo Torello to went back to his wife and get him, even though the wife was almost getting married with another man. So this is like the good deed can change people. Even Mother Torello did a good thing, good take care of the Saladin, and Saladin remembered and rewarded as later. So good deed and the good luck can change people, because Mother Torello has a good luck as well, that on time frame that he was able to go back to his wife. However, this story has changed medieval people life and society, that people was in our life, people need experience to learn. So basically some people don't have the experience, and even the storyteller, from the story you can learn what's bad, what's good, and you can fix yourself. So these Decameron stories change people life, and later on it's keep changing people life, and especially the Mediterranean life was really great after the hearing this story. So it took place, and it was like greatest book until now. Thank you.